Here are the features in the 0.8.1 release. I've got a lot to show you, so let's get started. We've cleaned up the simplified character sheet. We've fixed some of the layout issues, some of the alignment issues. We've changed most of the items to look like small buttons, which will make it easier for new users to know where to click. The defense is now rollable. The items up here all roll their attribute, and the heart will change color based on the HP status. So as you cross the various boundaries, 1/3, 0, minus HT, the color will get progressively darker. We've enhanced the apply damage dialog. We support the generic damage type DMG, and down here in the calculations and results window, we display messages to the GM. If you play with knockback, the GM can press this button and it will send a message to the owner of the character. The owner can then press these buttons in the chat log to determine their results. We support blunt trauma. The GM has to determine if this is actually flexible armor as per the rules, and if so, they can select this and it will apply 1 point of blunt trauma. Of course, the GM can override this to any number they want and reset it back to the calculated value with this. Doing a point of damage would cause shock. If you're playing with shock, the GM can press this button and it will send a reminder to the owner that they are in shock. At some point in the future, we hope to make this an active effect, but for right now, it's just a reminder. We now support armor divisors. You can see that the divisor has been applied, and if you play with major wounds, this would cause a major wound. Again, you can press this chat button and it'll send a message to the owner that they need to make this roll. In this particular case, Lady Serial does have high pain threshold, so she can click this button and add it to her modifier bucket and then roll her HT. For hit location wounding modifiers, we'll use the impaling damage. If the attack was to the vitals, you can see here the modifier is ×2, but if we turn on the hit location wounding modifiers, it becomes ×3. Or if the attack was to the skull, it's ×4. There's still more to do with the hit location wounding modifiers. This is a very complex set of rules, but we've made some great progress. We now provide a way to create NPCs. As a nod to our muse, the GM can go into the chat window and type /Mook. This brings up the Mooc Generator. You can type in your information and press Tab to go between all of the fields. The notes, traits, skills, melee, and ranged values are all parsed for on-the-fly formulas. Traits can be entered line by line, or following the stat block format, they can be separated with semicolons. The skills can be entered line by line, or following the stat block format, they can be separated by comma. Skills may contain spaces, and then a dash, and then the skill level. Melee and ranged attacks must be entered line by line. The format is the attack name, the skill level in parentheses, and then a damage formula. The ranged input accepts an additional optional accuracy value. Once you're ready, you press the Create Mook button. If you've entered some data incorrectly and press the Create Mook, it will try to warn you as to what you've done wrong. Fix this error and press Create Mook. And you can see the new NPC in the new NPC sheet. This is a fully functional character sheet. The HP and FP values are editable, and all the values are rollable. The NPC is a full-fledged actor, so you can press the full view and see the full data. You can enter the editor and edit values on the character. To quickly go back to the NPC sheet, you can press the Ctrl key and click here, and this will bring you to the NPC sheet. Or to go to the simplified sheet, hold down the Shift key and press this button. Note, the melee and ranged input fields actually support all of the columns available. So if you wanted to create this with a parry value, you can, or a recoil value, and then you can create the Mooc. You'll notice that the Mooc Generator window stayed open, in the assumption that you would probably create more than one Mooc. Just press Tab, go to the beginning, start typing in more information. We've added new formulas to the on-the-fly system, dodge, fright check, etc. We support the complete damage format, including multipliers and armor divisors. And finally, you can begin some formulas with an exclamation point, and it will convert it into a blind roll. If a user clicks on the blind roll, they won't see the result, but the GM will. And this brings us to our last major feature. If you're GMing a game with new players, you may need to help them determine what to roll. This player on the right is playing Bog using the simplified sheet. If the GM opens up Bog, it will open up the same sheet, but the GM can right mouse click on anything and it will bring up this dialog. They can send this on the fly formula then to everyone as a blind roll to everyone, a whisper to just that owner, or a blind roll whisper to that owner. So we'll do that, and they receive the blind roll. Anything that can be clicked on can be sent. Some things can be sent as blind rolls, other things cannot. Currently, damage cannot be sent as a blind roll. This works on all character sheets, so on the full sheet, you can right-click on any value, including on-the-fly values embedded in text. If you open a character sheet that's not owned by anyone, you can still right-click to send the value to everyone. For example, you can make the whole party make a blind perception roll from any character sheet. Of course, we have some minor changes as well. As mentioned before, if you click on the Combat View Full View title bar button, holding down the Shift key, it will take you to the Simplified view. If you hold down the Control key, it will take you to the NPC/mini view. And of course, you can go back to the full view. In the Encumbrance window, we only show one dodge value to roll. However, you can now change your encumbrance level just by clicking. If you play with the rate of fire recoil rules, then when you make a ranged attack, it will calculate the total possible number of hits. And lastly, we've added a warning to the import that if you try to import a Fantasy Grounds file, it won't allow you, and it'll print a link to the Google Doc in the chat window. And as always, thank you for watching.